Basic numbers here. I'm going to get you statistics and just kind of astonishing numbers about batteries, some really kind of messed up stuff. But start off, 3 billion batteries are thrown away each year. That's a lot of batteries. To give you some perspective, it's 180,000 tons of batteries. That weighs 100,000 tons in aircraft carriers, so almost 2 aircraft carriers of batteries are thrown away each year, which is a lot. Like, that's a lot of batteries. 86,000 tons of the whole thing is single-use lithium-ion batteries. So just like your AA, AAA, you use it one time, you throw them out, put it up. 14,000 tons are rechargeable, so batteries that we can reuse, recharge. Those get thrown away just as often as the rest. We just use them longer. AA, AAA batteries, your household batteries, those make up like 20% of the hazardous waste in landfills. So 20% of hazardous waste in landfills is just D batteries, camera batteries, phone batteries, all that stuff just lying around. These are some pictures. That is battery acid on skin. That's just kind of a visual representation of what we're throwing away. That's a recycling plant in Vietnam. They're wearing wet rags around their head because the air pollutants from the lead that leaks out when they recycle them, they just hammer them open. That's a recycling plant. It takes a long time. They just kind of sit there for a very long time. And those are just some representations of batteries that have gone bad and sit forever. In 1986, 138,000 tons of lead acid batteries, so that's like your car batteries, those were thrown away. In 1989, 621.2 tons of household batteries, so AAA, AA's, those were all thrown out, which is just astonishing numbers even for 1989 when they didn't use batteries for as much stuff. In 1970, the number from 1989 then doubled, so we doubled from 1970 to 1989. 350 million rechargeable batteries are sold each year, and this is just the US. 99 million lead acid batteries, so that has to do with even like construction backhoe, all those big vehicles, they all have lead acid batteries. So 99 million lead acid batteries are sold each year. And then the total of batteries sold in the US, I don't know about the worldwide, but the US sold 3 to 4 billion batteries this like per year, which is ridiculous because we're also throwing away 3 billion batteries a year. So in there, we are throwing out just as much as we're making at the same time. So that's roughly 32 batteries per family, per 4-person family, which is 10 batteries roughly per person. So there's kids that are using batteries, and we're using batteries for the kids, and we're just adding batteries and batteries and batteries. In 1992, just to give you some perspective on how quickly we're moving with the batteries, 2.2 million batteries were sold compared to 3 to 4 billion. So that's almost 26 years. We are well beyond double that. So, and I'm going to let Jack take it here.
All right, guys. How you guys doing? My name is Jack once again. Another fun fact that I did, or kind of found, going along with some of those facts that Jackson was just talking to you guys about. If you were to line up end-to-end all the AA's and AAA's in a line, it would be long enough to go around the world 6 times. I thought that was pretty wild, and just kind of once again showing you guys a little bit of how many batteries we go through. So I'll kind of be going into some details on some of the main companies that sell batteries, such as, you guessed it, Duracell. All right, so Duracell, their headquarters, they are in Bethel, Connecticut, and these guys have a revenue of $2 billion a year, and they have roughly, I'm going to do employees right here, have employees 2,700 worldwide. Then over here, we're going to jump over here, moving on, Energizer. These guys were founded, Alright, these guys are in Town and Country. That's where they are located. These guys have a revenue they bring in. Revenue of $3.4 billion. And then we have been in the past been doing a lot of research about Tesla. Thanks, my man. Tesla. These guys are in California. Cali. Got some these guys in California. These guys have employees. They have 45,000 employees that work for them. And these guys' revenues are closer to $11.4 billion every year. So, moral of the story is you make a lot more money in the car industry than the battery industry, but we'll just kind of keep going from there. So, batteries are considered a hazardous waste. Sealed in the batteries are a bunch of harmful chemicals. When batteries are dumped in landfills, they're easily crushed. And then all of these harmful toxins will leak into the ground very commonly, and then once it is into the ground, it will get into our water supply, and then once again, that's just not what you want. With some human interaction, or I'm sorry, like if we were to digest some of these compounds or some of these toxic elements that are in batteries, that would lead to kidney damage, injuring your nervous system and reproduction system, and then also, in worst cases, could possibly potentially lead to death. So, what can we do here as students to improve our situation? We talked about replacing all of our disposal batteries with rechargeable batteries. On average, a rechargeable battery can be recharged up to 1,000 times. Is what we found, and so that if you get one rechargeable and really take it to that 1,000, you alone have saved a lot of batteries. And then another thing that I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but here we have a recycling thing for batteries on campus. This is actually located downstairs in the EVH lab. We stole it, so we'll be taking it back there after class. Hopefully nobody has any donations to do in this hours, but that'll be around just so you guys know about that, and you guys can hopefully help out. All right, I'll be passing on to my man Nico to continue the knowledge.
Good morning, everybody. You guys get your donuts? You guys ready for some talking? Okay, so we're going to get into recycling. A lot of these are old batteries you guys see right here, with the lithium, or they have some of that lithium in there. How many of you guys have cell phones and Apple phones and whatnot? Okay, you're basically holding like a Tesla battery in your hand. That has a little bit of lithium with a lot of precious metals that a lot of recycling companies like Umicore. Umicore is one of the largest recycling companies, and they're probably worth about, probably in comparison with Tesla, they're probably making about $12 billion a year. And so Umicore is just recently, I believe like in September or so, they looped up with Tesla. And so Tesla's going to be sending some of their batteries, and that's what a lot of people are doing right now. They're sending their batteries to Umicore to have them recycled, broke down through, like I explained in my previous presentation, through smelting and then breaking down the elements to like a, kind of like a I'd say cryogenesis or whatever, but they freezing everything and then just smashing it down into the fine precious metals and elements. And so what we get to is we want to look at the cost. So you guys want to know, like, well, how much does it cost to recycle a battery? Well, right now we're in the infancy stage of everything with Tesla. So we're building these batteries, and they have a lifespan of 10 years. So that's given us our research and development team 10 years with the plan, along with the United States Department of Energy, which is also investing, I believe, like $3 billion into research and development to aid into recycling these batteries. So as a fallback plan as of right now, that's why we're going with Umicore. Recycling costs on that right now, Tesla's kind of, they're into making money, and that's what we're doing right now, we're making money. So the benefit for that, for Tesla, is that we're able to, since we looped up with Umicore, they're able to recycle the fine metals out of there, like your cobalt, copper and aluminums and whatever else that they can pull out of there and use that for their refineries and their mining industries to make that money. And then also, like your cell phones, they're able to pull out probably at about 1,500 cell phones, they can pull out the gold in there and make it into like an ounce of gold. So they're able to, that's how well defined their system is as far as recycling. And so with that, we're not seeing as high as cost as like saying, here's our batteries, how much you're gonna charge us. In a way, it's kind of like a kickback plan because we're giving them the batteries and they're actually giving us a dividend. So it's like a credit. And so that's where Umicore and Tesla are at right now. In the future, like I said, with the research and development Department of Energy, we're going to probably see a change in that, and there'll probably be, there's going to be, it's on an on-rise. Like I said, it's in the infancy stages, and so they'll be seeing other companies that are going to probably get in on the action, as they say, to start making that money and to start seeing that change with the recycling of lithium-ion batteries. So that's all I have. I'm sure you'll take over.
Thank you, Miko. My name's Hunter, as Miko just said. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk a little bit more specific numbers just about Tesla in general. So I want to get this straight first. 1 gigawatt hour is equal to 1 million kilowatt hours. And I just want to get this clear because I will be talking a lot about GWH and KWH here in the following couple minutes. Alright, so Tesla has the Gigafactory here. So this is in somewhere in Nevada, I believe. It's a little outside of Reno. But they began production in 2014, and currently this photo is very recent, like the past couple weeks. So the white areas are places that have already, or is the factory floor that's already been built and is functioning. And so currently that's 30% complete according to Tesla. But so this being 30% complete, they have an annualized rate of 30 gigawatt hours produced just by this 30% completion. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but the world's whole storage of gigawatt energy is 148 gigawatt hours. So that's almost just under 13.5% of the world's consumption, essentially. So they're planning that by the time this is finished in 2020, they will exceed the amount that the world uses today. Now, the amount that we use in the next 4 or 5 years will definitely change, but we will be having, hopefully we'll have a little bit better time with it. But here on the right-hand side, you can see as well here, the red is what they're planning on installing here in the next year, I believe. So that itself should ramp up production again, at least another 20 gigawatt hours. So essentially what they do here in the gigawatt factory, they create Tesla power cells and Tesla batteries and such. And so that's kind of how they gauge the gigawatt hours that they produce. It's not saying that they produce that much through solar or wind energy, although this factory, when fully finished, is going to be 100% net zero. So, like the guy who came in and talked to us about that renewable school or whatever, very similar to that. They're going to be using geothermal heating everywhere, solar energy, solar panels, solar wind energy, and then they're also going to have the solar tubes as well, which I thought was really interesting because we've already learned about that. But those solar tubes running down from the ceiling all the way down to the factory floor, providing a lot of light at a very, very cheap cost. So, lithium is the biggest, that's the biggest part of batteries, right? So, a lot of lithium is needed for this factory, not just alone. And so currently, this factory is powered by a lithium mining company called Silver Peak in Esmeralda County, Nevada. And they currently produce about 3,500 metric tons of lithium per year. They do have the capabilities to ramp up production to 6,000 metric tons, but Tesla needs, okay, so they've got a goal to meet 500,000 cars in the next year. That's how many cars they want to produce, correct? So after that, I did some math, and they will need 669,445,612.59 pounds of lithium, which translates to 334,721.81 tons. Still, after getting the 6,000 they get solely from this local source. I believe the local source is to help them get LEED certified in the future. So other than that, a lot of lithium is produced in the Congo, and I believe that the Congo is where they're going to be getting the majority of the lithium. Although they didn't say, I'm sure there's like political affiliations and stuff that have to be met, and I don't know, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of gates to be passed through. Other than that, this is essentially a digital rendering of what the Gigafactory should look like when it's fully finished. I mean, it's going to be apparently it's going to be the biggest structure in the world, like I said in my last presentation. But they're also going to employ something close to like 30,000 employees, ranging from factory floor types to people higher up the food chain. But yeah, I mean, this would be great for Nevada nonetheless. But hopefully, I mean, the world, and just give everyone more of a more energy to work with. So, yeah, I'm gonna pass it on to Alex, who's gonna wrap us up here.
Awesome, guys. Just like Hunter said, my name's Alex, and I'm going to be going over a few things. Mostly the cost benefit of using batteries, solar, compared to using, regular gas combustion engines and whatnot. But the biggest thing is that yes, batteries are rechargeable, they're reusable, but that's not effective to the environment unless that energy is being generated by a clean source. So if it's coming from solar to charge those batteries compared to a coal-fired power plant charging your Tesla, it's just, you're not the total impact overall. So just to get an idea where everything kind of comes from, quick pie chart here. So we got about 37% comes from oil, and then natural gas is, 37% is oil, natural gas is 31%, and then coal is 17%, nuclear is 8.3, hydro 2.5, and renewable is 3.1. So it's a little other scale, but you guys can get the idea. So that being said, when Tesla's a great example in just using electric cars. Right now, on average, it takes twice as much global impact to produce an electric car right now than a gas combustion engine. So it's just in that being said, with lithium and the raw materials, to extract 1 ton of virgin lithium out of Chile, you have to remove 1,250 tons of earth to get to that battery. So going into solar panels, so solar's huge. Tesla, they have the Powerwall backup and whatnot. So the installation cost for Powerwall backup, so it's about $5,900 for the battery, but it can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 to install with a 10-year warranty. So if you want to throw solar panels in there, you're looking at about $16,000 to retrofit your home with a 5 kilowatt system in order to power your house efficiently. But overall, there's 1.3 million solar installations across the United States, and in 2018, solar only accounted for 1.44% of energy generated in the United States. That being said, this is batteries.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions?
You guys know why Energizer generates more revenue than Duracell? They've been around a little longer, and so they're just like, they have a little more just like skin in the game, just have a little more credibility, awareness with customers. And their plants are a little bigger, so they just, once again, a little bigger production for business. So, cool.
I think Energizer, I might be wrong, I'm pretty sure Energizer got into the rechargeable battery industry before Duracell did, and so I think that like took them a huge step way before that, so I think that contributed a lot.
And just to give you guys an example, so this is a lithium-ion battery. There's approximately 3.49 grams of lithium in here, so just the size, throw that in there.
And to make a Model S battery pack, 63 kilograms of lithium, so quite the difference.
Need a lot of these.
It seems like batteries were invented to fundamentally be an energy storage device. When did we go from that mentality to like a single-use, pop it in your TV remote and like throw it in the trash kind of mentality?
I think it was when we wanted to go wireless, to be honest with you. Batteries made it easy for us to store energy and use it on the go. So I think once we wanted to unplug it from the wall, I think that's when a lot of that started happening. I can put an exact date on it.
I mean, there's just some things that you can't, necessarily you can't use rechargeable, but it's not the best idea. Avalanche beacons. They also highly recommend not using the lithium-ion battery. They recommend using the alkali battery because it works better in cold. Lithium is very sensitive to cold, so that's why like the Samsung phones were, blowing up on the flights due to a small puncture, and then temperature and pressure change causes it to expand.
So chemical differences between...
So yeah, the chemical differences, I mean, there's just some things that, when your life's on the line, I definitely would, use an alkali battery for my beacon other than using a rechargeable battery. But you can also be responsible, come to Fort Lewis and recycle your batteries. Any other
So
questions?
my car is like corroding and there's battery acid everywhere and slowly like getting to the rest of the parts of the car.
Right.
So it's time for me to replace my battery.
Of course.
You can also clean that.
I can also,
You can have people clean that. It's kind of expensive.
I've done that over and over and like within 30 minutes.
And it's probably a leak in the connections.
Yeah, I need to fix that.
So, anyways, what's the point?
Like if you're in
There you go. It is. So what should I do? Where should I recycle my battery?
Any like AutoZone or where you're gonna buy a new battery, they'll charge you, but they'll recycle the battery for you.
And you'll get a core deposit back, so I don't know, is it like $20 or?
Yeah, if you go there and if you buy a new battery there and give them the old battery, you can usually discount.
Yeah, so the discounts from recycling the core, so.
They like almost won't let you get one. They're like, where's the old one?
Right.
They're like, your father.
Any other battery questions?
Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you. Thanks.